Commander Elara Chen awoke to the blaring of alarms. Her quarters aboard the UES Pathfinder shuddered violently, throwing her from her bunk onto the cold metal floor. Emergency lights pulsed crimson as the ship's AI broadcast throughout the vessel. All personnel to battle stations. Unknown vessels approaching. This is not a drill. Elara scrambled to her feet, muscle memory taking over as she donned her uniform. 6 years leading Earth's first deep space exploration vessel, and they'd never encountered anything beyond automated probes and ancient satellite debris. Until now. Status report, she demanded, striding onto the bridge. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Commander Marcus Drake, turned from his console with uncharacteristic tension etched across his features. 7 vessels, Commander. Appeared from nowhere at the edge of our sensor range. No matching signatures in our database. He gestured to the tactical display. They're fast. Very fast. Elara studied the approaching formation. The alien vessels moved with precision that suggested advanced technology and military discipline. The largest ship, presumably their flagship, was nearly 3 times the size of the Pathfinder. Open all communication channels, she ordered. Standard first contact protocols. Communications Officer Naomi Rivera nodded, her fingers dancing across her console. Broadcasting on all frequencies in all known formats, Commander. Minutes passed. The bridge crew held their collective breath as the alien armada continued its approach. No response, Rivera reported. They're still coming. Elara's tactical officer, Lieutenant Shenwei, suddenly straightened. Energy spike. They're charging weapons. Shields up. Elara commanded. Evasive pattern Delta 9. The Pathfinder lurched as pilot Zachary Okafor executed the maneuver, but they weren't fast enough. The first volley from the alien vessel struck with devastating precision, sending cascading failure warnings across every console on the bridge. Direct hits to engines and communication array, Wei reported, voice steady despite the chaos. Shields at 40%. Elara's mind raced. They were outgunned, outmaneuvered, and now cut off from Earth. The nearest human colony was weeks away, even if their engines were operational, which they weren't. Target the lead vessel, she ordered. Fire everything we've got. The Pathfinder's railguns and missile batteries unleashed their payload, most of which the alien vessels effortlessly evaded. The few that connected seemed to dissipate against some kind of energy field. No effect, Wei reported grimly. The ship rocked again as another barrage struck home. Conduits burst overhead, showering the bridge with sparks. Shields failing. Wei shouted over the cacophony of alarms. They're deploying boarding craft. Elara's hand moved to the sidearm at her hip. All personnel, prepare to repel boarders. This is our ship. We're not giving it up without a fight. Marcus stepped closer, lowering his voice. Commander, the black box protocol, she nodded grimly. Earth's first deep space vessel carried humanity's most advanced technology. Protocol dictated that in case of imminent capture, all data must be purged and key systems destroyed to prevent technological appropriation by hostile forces. Initiate Protocol Mnemosyne, she commanded. But we're not done yet. The ship's AI acknowledged with a solemn tone. Protocol Mnemosyne initiated. Core data encryption beginning. 30 minutes until complete purge. As the bridge crew armed themselves, preparing for combat against an unknown enemy, Elara activated the ship-wide comms one last time. All hands, this is Commander Chen. We are under attack by unknown hostiles. Protect your stations, protect your crewmates, and remember your training. Whatever happens next, make it clear to these bastards what happens when you pick a fight with humanity. Chen out. The first explosion rocked the primary airlock. The invasion had begun. High Admiral Varek Zothar watched the primitive human vessel's feeble counterattack with contempt. 6,000 cycles of hegemony expansion across 17 galactic sectors, and still these lesser species resisted the inevitable. Boarding parties report resistance at all entry points, his second, Sub-Admiral Kren, reported. The humans are fighting with unusual determination. Varek's 4 eyes narrowed. The Hegemony's assimilation of new species typically followed a predictable pattern. Initial show of force, demonstration of technological superiority, surrender, integration. It had worked on 37 species thus far. Casualties, he inquired. Kren hesitated. 17 warriors lost. The humans are using primitive projectile weapons, but their tactics are unpredictable. Varek rose from his command chair, mandibles clicking in irritation. Unacceptable. Deploy the vanguard. I want that ship secured and its data cores intact. As the elite Hegemony forces prepared to board, Varek studied the human vessel's design. Crude but functional. Their species was young, barely space-capable. Their inclusion in the Hegemony would be insignificant, but proper protocol demanded complete subjugation of all encountered intelligences. The humans are concentrating their defense around their central computer core, Kren noted. They appear to be buying time. For what purpose? Varek demanded. Unknown. Intercepts suggest they've initiated some kind of data destruction protocol. Varek's irritation grew. Accelerate the assault. I want their command staff alive for interrogation. The rest are expendable. Elara ducked as another energy bolt seared the bulkhead above her. The corridor leading to the bridge was littered with casualties, both human and alien. The boarders resembled insectoid humanoids, with 4 arms and chitinous armor that partially deflected conventional ammunition. Aim for the joint sections, she shouted to the defenders. Their armor's weaker there. Beside her, Marcus ejected a spent magazine from his sidearm. 15 minutes until complete purge, he reminded her. We need to hold this position. The aliens had adapted quickly to human tactics, using portable shield generators to advance down the corridors. But humans were adapting too. Chief Engineer Riya Patel had reconfigured the emergency fire suppression system to spray conductive fluid that short-circuited the alien shields. Commander, Rivera's voice crackled over the comms. I've been analyzing their communication patterns. There's a recurring pattern that might be a command frequency. Elara fired 3 precise shots, dropping an advancing alien. Can you jam it? Not with our standard equipment. But Dr. Alvarez thinks we can modify the ship's electromagnetic pulse generator. Elara exchanged glances with Marcus. The EMP generator was designed for scientific sampling, not warfare, and using it would fry most of their own remaining systems. Do it, she ordered. We just need to hold out a little longer. On the bridge of the Hegemony flagship, Varek received increasingly concerning reports. The human resistance was not breaking. Instead, they were adapting, learning, exploiting weaknesses in Hegemony technology that no species had identified before. High Admiral, Kren's voice betrayed genuine alarm. They've modified their environment systems. 3 squads lost to some kind of electrical discharge. Impossible, Varek snarled. Their technology is primitive. Nevertheless, Kren's transmission cut off abruptly as alarms blared across the command deck. Massive energy surge detected in the human vessel, the sensor officer reported. Varek's instincts, honed through centuries of warfare, screamed danger. Disengage boarding parties. All ships, increase distance from the target. But the order came too late. EMP ready. Dr. Elena Alvarez called from her makeshift station in engineering. Blood trickled from a gash on her forehead, but her eyes gleamed with fierce determination. But this will kill all our systems. Life support, artificial gravity, everything. Elara nodded grimly. Everyone, mag boots activated. Secure all loose equipment. She turned to Patel. Once we trigger this, how long until we can restore minimal life support? The engineer wiped sweat from her brow. If the backup generators kick in as designed, 15 minutes. Maybe 20. That's cutting it close, Marcus muttered. We're out of options, Elara responded. They're breaking through our last defenses. Better to die by our own hand than give these bastards anything they can use. She activated her comms. All personnel, brace for EMP in 30 seconds. This is going to hurt. As the countdown reached 0, Dr. Alvarez closed the circuit. A wave of electromagnetic energy surged through the ship, frying electronic systems, both human and alien. The lights died, gravity failed, and for a moment, an eerie silence fell over the Pathfinder. In the sudden zero-gravity darkness, illuminated only by emergency chemical lights, Elara turned to her crew. "Now we fight our way to their ships." General Williams stared at the grainy transmission, his weathered face revealing nothing of the turmoil within. Behind him, the Joint Chiefs and the President awaited his assessment. "Play it again," he ordered. The holographic display flickered, showing Commander Chen's battered face. The timestamp indicated the message had taken 3 weeks to reach Earth. "This is Commander Elara Chen of the UES Pathfinder. We were attacked without provocation by an advanced alien force calling themselves the Hegemony. We managed to capture one of their vessels and are limping home, but their main fleet is in pursuit." Her expression hardened. "The Hegemony has declared humanity a uniquely dangerous species to be contained or eliminated. They're coming, and in greater numbers. Prepare accordingly." Chen out. The room remained silent as the implications sank in. Humanity's first contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, and it had immediately devolved into warfare. "How much time do we have?" the President finally asked. Williams consulted his tablet. "Based on the Pathfinder's last known position and trajectory, Commander Chen should reach our outer defense perimeter in approximately 4 days. The alien pursuit fleet, perhaps a week after that. And our defensive capabilities?" The general exchanged glances with Admiral Zhao. "Inadequate, Madam President. If these hegemony forces are as advanced as the Pathfinder's data suggests, our current space defense grid won't hold." The President's gaze swept the room. "Then we have 1 week to prepare for an interstellar war we never asked for. What do we know about their weaknesses?" Dr. Saito, head of Xenoscience Division, stepped forward. Commander Chen managed to transmit significant data on hegemony biology and technology. Their ships utilize a form of faster-than-light travel we've theorized but never achieved. Their weapons are energy-based, vastly superior to our railguns. "I don't need to know why we're outmatched," the President interrupted. "I need to know how we can win." Dr. Saito allowed himself a small smile. "They have 3 critical vulnerabilities. First, their computer systems lack fundamental cybersecurity principles. They've never needed them because no species has challenged their technological dominance. Second, their biology makes them susceptible to certain radiation frequencies that are harmless to humans. And third," he paused, "they've never encountered a species that continued fighting after initial defeats. Their entire strategy assumes rational surrender in the face of superior force. They don't understand humanity very well, do they?" the President remarked dryly. "No, Madam President," General Williams agreed. "And that will be their downfall." 4 days later, the Pathfinder limped into Earth's orbit, escorted by every available military vessel. The ship was barely recognizable, its hull scarred by weapons fire, entire sections exposed to vacuum, and a strange alien vessel awkwardly tethered to its underside. When Commander Chen stepped onto Earth for the first time in 6 years, she was greeted as both a hero and a harbinger of war. Her crew, reduced to less than half its original complement, stood proud despite their injuries and haunted eyes. "The alien vessel?" General Williams asked as they walked toward the waiting transport. "Operational, though we're still learning its systems," Elara replied. "We've designated it Trojan Horse. It contains their navigational data, weapons schematics, and communication protocols." "And the prisoner?" "Sub-Admiral Kren has been cooperative, after realizing his High Admiral abandoned him to die. The Hegemony doesn't value individual lives the way we do. Their hierarchy is absolute, almost religious in nature." Williams nodded thoughtfully. "You've given us a fighting chance, Commander." Elara's expression darkened. "No, General. I've given us a war we can't avoid. Make it count." The next 3 days passed in a blur of preparation. Every nation on Earth set aside long-standing rivalries, pooling resources and military assets. Civilian shipyards converted to military production. Retired veterans returned to service. Scientists worked around the clock, adapting hegemony technology to human use. The heart of this activity, Elara found herself promoted to admiral and placed in command of Earth's hastily assembled defense fleet. Her first-hand experience with hegemony tactics made her invaluable, though the responsibility weighed heavily. "We've integrated their communication protocols into our systems," Dr. Alvarez reported during one strategy session. "We can now intercept and understand their transmissions. More importantly, we can broadcast on their frequencies." "Psychological warfare?" Admiral Zhao suggested. "Better," Elara replied. "Misinformation. The hegemony's command structure relies on absolute hierarchy. Orders flow from top to bottom with no questioning. If we can inject false commands," General Williams nodded appreciatively, "sow confusion in their ranks." Marcus, now a captain, pulled up a holographic display of the solar system. "We've positioned automated drones throughout the system to give us early warning. The lunar defense batteries are operational, though untested against hegemony shields." "What about the Trojan horse modifications?" Elara asked. Dr. Patel, sporting a prosthetic arm to replace the one lost during the Pathfinder's battle, stepped forward. "We've masked its energy signature to appear as a hegemony scout vessel. The program you suggested, Project Typhoid Mary, is ready for deployment." Elara felt a grim satisfaction. The hegemony had attacked without warning, without provocation. They'd expected an easy conquest. Instead, they'd awakened a species whose entire history was defined by overcoming seemingly impossible odds. "One more thing," she added. "I want to broadcast a message on all frequencies when they arrive. Let them know exactly who they're dealing with." High Admiral Varek Zothar stood before the Hegemony War Council, his posture rigid with fury and wounded pride. "The human vessel escaped with Sub-Admiral Kren and a scout ship," he reported. "I underestimated their adaptability." The council matriarch's compound eyes revealed nothing. "This failure is unprecedented, High Admiral. 37 species integrated into the hegemony, all without significant military losses." "The humans are different," Varek insisted. "They continued fighting even when defeat was certain. Their tactics evolved during the battle itself." "You sound almost admiring," the matriarch observed coldly. Varek stiffened. "I respect a worthy adversary. But make no mistake, this species must be contained. Their unpredictability makes them dangerous to the hegemony's order." "Your assessment?" "We must deploy the subjugation fleet immediately. The humans have had time to prepare, but their technological development remains centuries behind ours. A swift, overwhelming assault will end this quickly." The matriarch considered this recommendation, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. "The subjugation fleet is authorized. You will personally lead this campaign, High Admiral. Return with victory, or not at all." As Varek departed the council chambers, he reflected on the human commander he'd briefly faced. She had shown remarkable ingenuity, turning the Pathfinder's scientific equipment into weapons, adapting to hegemony tactics in real time, and somehow capturing both Kren and a scout vessel during her escape. For the first time in his long military career, Varek felt something unfamiliar: doubt. The hegemony subjugation fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system 7 days after the Pathfinder's return. 40 warships, led by the dreadnought Indomitable Will, moved in precise formation toward Earth. Across all Earth defense platforms, the alert status shifted to maximum. Civilian populations moved to underground shelters. The United Military Forces of Humanity, still woefully outmatched despite their preparations, took up defensive positions around the planet and its lunar bases. "They've arrived," Marcus reported unnecessarily as the massive alien fleet appeared on the tactical display. Elara nodded, studying their formation. "Just as expected. Arrogant. Predictable. They're not even attempting to mask their approach." She activated the fleet-wide communication system. "All vessels, maintain position. Do not engage until ordered." Then she turned to communications. "Broadcast our message on all hegemony frequencies." Throughout the alien fleet, commanders were startled as human voices suddenly emerged from their communication systems. It was the voice of Admiral Elara Chen, speaking in flawless hegemony battle language. "Attention hegemony forces. This is Admiral Chen of Earth Defense Command. You attacked an exploration vessel without provocation. You killed my crew without warning or justification. For this, you have earned the undivided attention of humanity. On board the Indomitable Will, High Admiral Varek snarled as the human's voice continued. Your species has conquered 37 others through superior technology and the expectation of rational surrender. Let me explain something about humans that you failed to research. We have never achieved peace through surrender. We have never achieved greatness through submission. Throughout our history, we have overcome superior forces through innovation, adaptation, and sheer bloody-minded determination. Varek gestured frantically to his communications officer. Cut this transmission. Unable to comply, High Admiral. They've synchronized to our primary command frequencies. The human's voice continued, unwavering. So understand this clearly, you have not invaded a primitive species today. You have not found an easy conquest. What you have done, High Admiral Varek Zothar, is declared war on the galaxy's deadliest species. Congratulations. We accept your challenge. The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving an unsettled silence across the Hegemony fleet. How do they know my name? Varek demanded. How are they broadcasting on secure frequencies? Before his officers could respond, the tactical officer called out. High Admiral. We've detected a Hegemony scout vessel approaching from the human homeworld. Varek straightened. One of ours? Identification codes? Confirmed, High Admiral. It's the Vigilant Shadow, reported missing after the initial encounter. It appears damaged but operational. They're returning Kren, Varek realized aloud. A gesture of submission, perhaps? Or a trap? He considered the possibilities. Bring it aboard, but with full security protocols. In the command center on Earth, Elara watched the tactical display with intense focus. They've taken the bait. The Trojan horse has been admitted to their flagship. Marcus checked his chronometer. Typhoid Mary virus deploying in 3, 2, 1. Across the tactical display, dozens of Hegemony vessels suddenly began broadcasting distress signals. Their formation, previously perfect, dissolved into chaos as ship after ship lost power, shields, and weapons systems. Virus successfully deployed, Dr. Alvarez confirmed, her voice tight with controlled excitement. Their network security was exactly as primitive as we expected. Ships are randomly firing on each other due to targeting system malfunctions. Elara allowed herself a moment of satisfaction before giving the order. All Earth Defense Forces, execute Operation Thunderstrike. I repeat, execute Thunderstrike. From hidden positions throughout the solar system, human vessels emerged, conventional military ships alongside hastily armed civilian craft. From the lunar surface, massive railguns fired projectiles at near-light speed toward the disorganized Hegemony fleet. Hegemony communication systems are in chaos, communications reported. They can't coordinate their defense. On the main viewer, Elara watched as the Indomitable Will, apparently immune to the virus, began firing on the surrounding vessels. He's destroying his own ships, Marcus observed with shock. No, Elara corrected grimly. The virus is falsely identifying them as human vessels. Varek is trying to protect his command ship by eliminating what he thinks are enemies. On the bridge of the Indomitable Will, alarms blared as systems failed in cascading sequence. Varek watched in horror as his magnificent fleet tore itself apart. Shut down all networked systems, he roared. Isolate command functions. Find that human vessel. But it was too late. The scout ship they had allowed aboard had broadcast a sophisticated computer virus throughout the fleet's integrated networks. The Hegemony, never having faced a technological challenge from lesser species, had never developed robust cybersecurity. Human vessels approaching from multiple vectors, the tactical officer reported, voice strained. They're targeting ships with disabled shields. Varek watched as smaller, technologically inferior human vessels swarmed his crippled warships. Their tactics were unlike anything in Hegemony military doctrine, small craft sacrificing themselves to deliver devastating strikes, civilian ships acting as decoys, mining vessels deploying industrial explosives as makeshift weapons. They're using our own ships as shields, his second officer realized aloud. Our targeting systems can't distinguish. The officer's observation ended in a violent explosion as a human missile breached the bridge defenses. The Battle of Seoul, as it would later be called, lasted less than 6 hours. When it ended, 34 Hegemony warships had been destroyed or captured. The rest fled into faster-than-light travel, but not before Admiral Chen delivered a final message: return to your council. Tell them that humanity is not interested in conquest or subjugation. We seek peaceful cooperation with all species. But make this abundantly clear: any further aggression against Earth or its colonies will be met with the full force of human ingenuity. You have seen but a fraction of what we are capable of when threatened. The indomitable will, captured mostly intact, yielded treasure troves of Hegemony technology, star charts, and most importantly, the location of the Hegemony homeworld. 1 year after the Battle of Seoul, Admiral Elara Chen stood on the observation deck of the UES Retribution, Earth's first true warship built with adapted Hegemony technology. Below her, the blue-green marble of Earth rotated peacefully. Fleet is assembled and ready, Admiral, Marcus reported, now wearing the insignia of a Rear Admiral. Elara nodded, studying the tactical display showing 40 human vessels, a mix of military ships and converted civilian craft, all upgraded with reverse-engineered alien technology. Status of the diplomatic vessel? The olive branch is prepared, with Ambassador Rivera and her team aboard. The translation systems have been fully calibrated to all known Hegemony dialects. Elara smiled slightly at the irony. Naomi Rivera, once her communications officer, now carried humanity's message of conditional peace to the very heart of the Hegemony. You still think this is the right approach? Marcus asked quietly. I do, Elara confirmed. We could launch a preemptive strike. The intelligence from captured Hegemony officers suggests their homeworld is vulnerable. But that's not who we are. Even after everything they did? Elara turned to face her old friend. Especially after everything. We fought because we had to. We won because we're adaptable. But our greatest strength isn't our ability to wage war, it's our capacity to imagine something better. She gestured toward the view screen, where Earth slowly turned. Look at our history. We've fought ourselves countless times, often over resources or ideology. But we've also built wonders, created art, extended compassion to enemies. If we strike first now, we become what we despise. Marcus nodded slowly. A show of strength alongside an offer of peace. Exactly. The Hegemony understands strength. It's time they understand humanity. The human fleet emerged near the Hegemony homeworld 2 months later, having used the captured FTL technology. Their arrival caused immediate panic throughout the Hegemony hierarchy. Defense fleets scrambled, but positioned themselves cautiously. From the olive branch, Ambassador Rivera broadcast on all Hegemony frequencies. We come representing Earth and humanity. We request an audience with your war council and matriarch. The response was immediate. Your presence is an act of war. Withdraw immediately. If we intended war, Rivera replied calmly, you would already be under attack. We have demonstrated our capabilities. Now we offer dialogue. Hours passed in tense standoff before the Hegemony finally agreed to receive a small delegation. Rivera, accompanied by Dr. Alvarez and a security team, transported to the council chambers. The matriarch, surrounded by her advisors, regarded the humans with compound eyes that revealed nothing of her thoughts. You have violated Hegemony space after committing acts of war against our subjugation fleet, she began. Explain your presence. Rivera stepped forward. Your fleet attacked an unarmed exploration vessel without provocation. When we defended ourselves, you declared our species dangerous and sent a fleet to subjugate our world. Despite this, we come offering peace but on our terms. The council chamber erupted in chittering outrage at her boldness. The matriarch silenced them with a gesture. You are in no position to dictate terms, she stated. Rivera smiled slightly. With respect, matriarch, we have neutralized 2 of your fleets with inferior technology. We have now reverse-engineered your FTL drives and weapon systems. And, she paused significantly, we have mapped the precise location of every major Hegemony world and installation. She gestured, and Dr. Alvarez activated a holographic display showing detailed Hegemony strategic information. But we have not attacked. Instead, we come with an offer: mutual recognition, cessation of hostilities, and open diplomatic relations. The alternative. She let the implication hang in the tense chamber. The matriarch's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. The Hegemony has stood for 6,000 cycles. 37 species serve our collective. You would threaten this order? We threaten nothing, Rivera corrected. We simply refuse to be subjugated. There is a difference. After a long silence, the matriarch spoke. You have demonstrated unexpected capabilities. The Council will consider your proposal. 3 days later, the first peace treaty between humanity and an alien civilization was signed. The terms were straightforward: mutual non-aggression, established borders, and a framework for potential future cooperation. As the human delegation prepared to depart, High Admiral Varek Zothar, demoted but surprisingly not executed for his failures, approached Admiral Chen. You could have destroyed us, he stated, mandibles clicking in what she now recognized as confusion. Why didn't you? Elara studied the alien who had once nearly killed her entire crew. Because conquest isn't our goal. It never was. Then what is? She considered her answer carefully. To explore. To learn. To grow. And yes, to fight when necessary, but always with the hope that someday, fighting won't be necessary. Varek's compound eyes studied her. Your species is difficult to categorize. That's the highest compliment you could give us, Elara replied with a smile. Unpredictability is our greatest strength. But also our greatest challenge. As she turned to leave, Varek called after her. The Hegemony has encountered 38 species now. You are the first to defeat us. You are also the first to offer peace from a position of strength. Remember that, Elara said, the next time you encounter someone different. The journey back to Earth was filled with reflection. Humanity had survived its first interstellar conflict and emerged not just intact, but stronger with new technology, new allies among the subjugated species of the Hegemony who now sought independence, and a new understanding of their place in the galaxy. Standing on the observation deck, Elara watched the stars streak by, remembering the friends lost during that first surprise attack on the Pathfinder. Marcus joined her, offering a cup of coffee. Thinking about them? She nodded. Wondering what they'd think of all this. We went from nearly being exterminated to forcing the most powerful known civilization to the negotiating table in just over a year. They'd be proud, Marcus said. We didn't just survive. We changed the course of galactic history. Elara sipped her coffee, gazing at the star-streaked viewscreen. The Hegemony called us the galaxy's deadliest species. But they misunderstood what makes us dangerous. Which is? We don't just adapt to survive challenges, she said thoughtfully. We emerge from them transformed. Every obstacle we've faced throughout our history, disease, famine, climate disasters, our own wars, we've overcome by fundamentally changing our approach, our technology, our societies. She set down her cup. That's what the Hegemony couldn't comprehend. They expected logical surrender in the face of superior force. But humans don't calculate odds the way other species do. We see impossible situations as invitations to innovation. Marcus smiled. So what's next for humanity's deadliest admiral? Elara Chen looked out at the vast galaxy spreading before them, now open to human exploration and diplomacy rather than conquest. We keep exploring, she said simply. We keep learning. And we remember what we fought for, not just to survive, but to create something worth surviving for. As the Retribution and its fleet approached Earth, carrying news of peace secured through strength and wisdom rather than domination, Elara thought about the message humanity had sent to the stars: we are not to be underestimated. We are not to be subjugated. But neither are we conquerors, that we are human. And that, as the Hegemony had learned, was both warning and promise enough.